up on time to class. Give me a second. I'm going to just make sure we get on Twitch and YouTube. There's no echo right now, right? Because I was having a little issue earlier with TikTok Studio. There's no echo, correct? As you hear it now, because otherwise, I'll troubleshoot that first. I knew it. See, look, I'm getting better. You can hear me, right, Toodle? Just fine. I might just have to just start using OBS, because thank you so much for the gifts, by the way. I just am trying to make sure we get live on Twitch and YouTube before I get sidetracked. Okay, there we go. Back. Okay, I think we're good. Hey, Steph Lahua. Love you. Missed you so much. Hey, John. Never mind not watching. Give me 1 second. I just want to set up super chats on TikTok. Sorry, for a second I thought Streamlabs stopped and I was about to freak out again. Okay, we're fine. Let me set up super chats and then we'll get this party started. Happy Monday. Oh God, I sound even loud to myself. Okay, happy Monday. Hey Dolphin. Welcome. For you, Paige. Thank you so much, Stacy. You know what? I have some very important news that will be a surprise to no one but me, but I just want everyone to know Thursday is not Thanksgiving, and when you continue to send emails and try to plan like this Thursday is Thanksgiving, people think you are crazy. Literally, except for, I will say, 2 people agreed with me in my confusion that this Thursday was Thanksgiving. 2 people were like, yeah, it is. It's like, okay, so then I guess it is. So then I start making plans. Like my sister, well, man, I might have to go into another depression cave because my sister was telling me she's coming. I'm like, it's Monday. You're driving here from Dallas, Texas with 3 kids. And she's like, what day do you think Thanksgiving is? Thank you, sassy girl. Thank you so much for the galaxy. I know. Well, I thought it was the 3rd Thursday. It's not the 3rd Thursday. Let me just tell you, I believe technically it's the 3rd Thursday of November, but it can be the last Thursday, but it can also not be the last Thursday. Is it the final Thursday? Oh my God. Anyways, I've already been admonished for this. I'm using 2 accounts. Okay. Sorry. Give me a second. Okay, we are live. I thought everything's good now. Hold on. I got to do something. TikTok Studio, I thought I got a violation. Hold on. I just need to X out of like 5 windows that popped up. And I think we're okay. I think we're live everywhere and we're going to make it. Sorry. This has been a crazy morning. Again, Thanksgiving is not, in fact, this week, so you don't have to threaten your sister that she shouldn't be dragging her kids like on a 2-day journey just to get here. Yeah, whatever. And I guess that's perfect because look, this is the broken computer total as of Friday, by the way. So that's the week before, 4 lives the first week, 4 lives last week. So, and that's even better for me because that means we have a whole other week. I was thinking like, well, whatever, because the price of the computer is I'm not buying a new computer. It's a couple years old, so it's low anyways, but maybe it will even be cheaper. And now I have a whole nother week to earn towards it, which is that actually works out better for me. I have so many crazy things to show you guys. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord, link in bio, because I know I dropped off the face of the earth for like 3 months, but I'm going to be posting more there and being more in there. The healthy, you've noticed this weekend, I was around more. The healthier I get, the more I'm capable of being present and planning and, doing things. And Dolphin is our new mod for us, which is great, and she seems very eager to help. So hopefully, like, as we build trust and I get healthier, like, we can also work on things to do in the Discord, because I think everyone in our Discord knows, like, it's not being utilized in the best ways it should. And I used to talk with Cootery about that all the time, because she used to manage like huge Discords. So hopefully it's just unfortunately I just crawled into a hole for like 6 months, and I'm just starting to crawl back out. So we will as soon as I'm going to figure out ways we utilize the Discord more, long and short of it. Hold on. Lou, thanks for the super chat. It's the new timeline we're on. It was the third Thursday. Exactly. I don't even know. Okay, I want to just show you something. I don't want to say this is a joke, because it's serious. I just want to say, if this was a joke, let me say that a better way. If this was not true, because I've heard this is probably the third place I've heard this, but I just thought it was funny, because right when I was closing X and getting ready to start this live, this popped up, and I always talk about how I love Jennifer Welch and the I've Had It podcast. And so I'll just put it this way. Trump sues podcasters, bloggers, any media organizations when things they say about him are true. So if this is not true, I've seen this all over, and it'd be interesting to see if all the lawsuits come out. But this is the last clip I saw when I was done, and I was like, I have to show them this. So this is Jennifer Welch on her I've Had It podcast. I love Marco Foster, at Marco Foster. This is a great account to follow, because he posts from all different places. And I also love that, like, a younger gentleman seems to be enamored with this podcast. He clips their podcast and posts it every day, which I find it adorable. Like, I think that's great. So anyways, I've heard this 3 different places, but again, this is just the people's receipts. I'm just, I'm just playing receipts. I don't know.
There is a photograph of Kanks giving a blowjob to somebody named Bubba that Vladimir Putin has. Nobody is even denying that. Mark Epstein came back in and released a statement. Hey, it's not Bill Clinton. You've got the wrong Bubba. And then we wonder why Helsinki happened. And then look at all of the bend over, and pun intended there, all of the bend over by Kanks to Vladimir Putin since that time. This is unbelievable that this is just sitting out there, that Vladimir Putin has a picture of Kanks blowing Bubba. And we're sitting here talking about, I don't know, what's he going to do with the tariffs, which are all important things, which of course he's taken the L on that as well, because everything this man touches dies, which makes me wonder where and how Bubba, whoever this Bubba is doing now. There is a
So, and again, nobody knows who that is, right? And it's true that Mark Epstein is like, because when this was first heard, or like this was first discovered in this trove of Epstein information, they were like, oh, Bubba's probably Bill Clinton. And Mark Epstein, who's Jeffrey Epstein's brother, was like, no, it's not. Like, but didn't say any more. So I actually, I don't know why. I mean, I just find it funny that that's what she's talking about. And that, I also love that she calls him Kanks. She used to have a longer name for him. What was it? It was even funnier. God, I wish I could remember what it was. She had a longer name for him before. Oh yeah, Kankles McTaco. AI just answered my question. It was Kankles McTaco. That's what, and then she shortened it to Kanks. I was like, I know, because who know? I mean, it could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be a child. We don't know, but I just think it's so funny the way she talks about these things, because it's true. Like, Mark Epstein's like, no, it's not Bill Clinton. Like, yeah, no, it's not. But it's funny to say that. Yeah, oh, because I really thought that was what was going on. That's what we're covering up. Okay, give me 1 second to get to a different place. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to start with this because this is important. If you are in Discord, I added everyone. So it's either in your like messages, in your unread messages of your cell phone, or you can go in the general chat and the link is there. I wanted to talk about this Friday, but we always get derailed in so many ways, and I never get a chance to. So I want to play this clip of Couchboy, who, in my opinion, Couchboy has failed America in every way. And on Friday, I was focusing on this battle that Lawrence O'Donnell had all week long, calling Couchboy Gerald Ford, and basically saying that when Gerald Ford knew Nixon was going to get impeached, and Nixon wasn't impeached, right? He resigned before they impeached him. But when Gerald Ford knew, like, the tide was turning, he basically just went silent and abandoned Nixon and just didn't say anything because he didn't want, like, the stink of scandal on him. And Lawrence O'Donnell was pointing out, you know, where's Couchboy? Like, he's been real silent. He's not defending Trump anymore. And Couchboy got so upset that he started responding to people who were posting Lawrence O'Donnell's like clips on this, and it blew up into a whole thing. So I just want to show you one of the big contentions was Lawrence O'Donnell was saying Couchboy has disappeared, which he did. And then Couchboy responds and says, no, I recorded 2 interviews. I haven't abandoned Trump. And then those interviews came out and he said not a word about the Epstein files, right? Like, that's what we're talking about. Trump's embroiled in a scandal, and you've abandoned him on that, right? And the interviews were on Fox, which is like, you can say anything you want and never be fact-checked. Not that CNN fact-checks people, not that NBC does, but on Fox, you can pretty much just scream lies and wax poetic, and no one ever asks. So this is part of the interview that JD Vance was like, no, I did an interview, like, I'm brave. This is a clip from that, which was driving me nuts.
A lot of young people are saying housing is way too expensive. Why is that? Because we flooded the country with 30 million illegal immigrants who were taking houses that all by right go to American citizens. And at the same time, we weren't building enough new houses to begin with, even for the population that we have. A lot of young people.
So many problems with this. Like, you know what really bothers me about Republicans like Couchboy? You're a Yale-educated lawyer beholden to the ethics of the bar, and I've not even heard Trump say there's 30 million undocumented people. I've heard him say like 20 million, 15 million, 19 million, 18 million. I was literally using AI to search up Trump's lies about undocumented immigrants in America, and not even Trump has gone to the extreme of saying there's 30 million undocumented immigrants in America. Of course there aren't, weirdo. Like, are you okay? And the comfortability this weirdo now has with being a pathological liar, he's very intelligent. Like, and very polished, like great at debate, and not just debate, but also great at media debate, great at pivoting. Like, you don't have to lie. Like, you're already good, or you used to be. But the way Republicans are just like, okay, so we just pathologically lie because our base is stupid and they won't figure it out. Right? What did Trump say? Like on September 25th, not that I remember the date, 2025, smart people don't like me, or what was it? Wait, hold on. Let me find that, because I'm going to use that. I'm going to turn that into a soundbite, I think, for this show. Like when people gift or something. He said, smart people don't like me. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, you are the only people that could ever love you are people who can't read or do math. Because if you're aware that this man is lying 24 hours a day, yeah, it's impossible to like him.
Some people don't like me, you know, and they don't like what we talk about. Some people don't like me, you know, and they don't like what we talk about. Some people don't like me.
Yeah, because we can read and do math. And here's the thing, MAGA, if you don't take that, if you're not offended by that, as being like, hey, smart people, people who can read and do math know better, like, he's insulting you, not the rest of us. He's telling the truth. We don't like him because we can read and because we can do math. I know. And they're like, yeah, he doesn't like them. No, you're still not getting the joke. MAGA, like, I know. They're like, yeah, he doesn't like them because we're too smart and he's too dumb for us to believe his lies. Like, and that's what really concerns me and why I want to make clear. Trump is not going to be around that much longer, right? Like, literally, father time will see to that. These people that folded like lawn chairs, and I talk about how I'm obsessed with Congress and I'm always reading congressional blogs and how the majority of these Republican Congress people hate Trump and are miserable, but don't have the spine to speak up now. Or when you see like the Marco Rubios, who literally said the truth about Trump for like 10 years and then all of a sudden are like, I had a lobotomy and I'm here to lie like Trump does because that seems to be what the Republican base wants. Like, let me just predict something. JD Vance, Marco Rubio ticket 2028. Like, that is what they are angling for. And let me predict something else. A cult doesn't just pass on its cognitive dissonance to other people. I mean this. They are going to try to run together, or that's what Lil Marco wants. I don't know. Couch Boy doesn't get to choose. Couch Boy is owned by Peter Thiel and the Heritage Foundation. So Couch Boy doesn't necessarily get to choose, but Marco Rubio's slightly brown, right? He's Cuban. So they might be like, oh, okay, Hispanics will trust him. Hispanics are terrified of Marco Rubio now. Like, Marco Rubio is a terrifying person who lied to Hispanics, which we'll get that. There's some new polling from the Hispanic vote that supported Trump today, out this morning from CNN, and it is not looking great for Hispanics remaining with Trump. So that redistricting that was done in Texas based on the 2024 people that voted for Trump, and the population increase that was primarily Hispanic, it's not going to be great. Oh, I hope it's Erica Kirk. That would be... No, it won't be. Are you guys okay? It's not going to be Eric. I hope it is. Same way I wished with all my might that margarine would have been endorsed by Trump to run against John Ossoff, because then I could sleep at night knowing that John Ossoff was going to walk into the win. So I want to focus though on that JD Vance clip where JD Vance, who is a Yale educated lawyer, and I know him to be quite intelligent, says that the reason housing costs have skyrocketed is because of 30 million undocumented immigrants who have somehow lied on mortgage applications. and I mean, there's so many things that don't make sense. But let me just show you, because, when I hear a lie that big, I start doing research. This is an amazing study. This came out in October 2024. This was done by a professor at the University of Utah, Republican Utah, cracking down, pricing up housing supply in the wake of mass deportation. It's not that long, and if I already added everyone in the Discord with this study, but just screenshot this, just search for this, you could find it. And this study, it is current, and it encapsulates that mass deportation devastates the housing market for the white idiots that believe racism equals good. Like, every time when you can't afford a house, when you can't find a place to rent, know that it's because you're a bigot. And other bigots lied to you and said, once we get these brown people out of here, then you guys will have jobs and places to live. Turns out none of that is true. So again, I cannot recommend to study more. And at the end in the appendix, there's all of these graphs. So if you're trying to explain it to people that can't read, there's visual aids that can help those folks. But I broke it down and screenshot these as well, right? So bullet points of main findings of this study. The study analyzes the impact of the Secure Communities Immigration and Enforcement Program, which you should look that up because this is not something just started. And I want to be really fair and really honest. Because of what Trump has done with this fascist mass deportation program, you know that immigration lawyer, Rollo, who is ironically from Utah as well, who we all love when he comes on lives. And it's like, I think him in concert with the mass deportation effort has caused me to realize something. You know what? I have not really grasped the horrors of the U.S. deportation system. And whilst they are, let's say, 10 or 1,000x more horrible currently, they have been horrible, right? What Obama has done was horrible. What Trump did in his first term was horrible. You know, like what Biden did was horrible. We are doing bad things as it relates to immigration and the laws around immigration. But what Trump is doing now is not like, hey, we should be ashamed of ourselves. It is egregious. And again, I'm always looking for ways to explain to MAGA, because they can't count and they can't do math. How can I describe to them that your racism and bigotry is hurting your pocket? That's the problem with this. You are paying more. It's the same thing in healthcare, right? But that's what I was talking about on Friday. These idiots are like, I don't want to pay for the brown people. No, but the way we lowered your costs is by increasing the pool, right? Collective bargaining, the more people in the insurance pool. And I'm not even talking about one pool, not the federal pool, but private insurance pools as well go up when pools get smaller. Because no matter how you slice it, all of the people in the United States who are paying for insurance, right? That's the total pool. So when we add people to it, we pay less. When we subtract people from it, we pay more. Oh God, Will, your brain's not working, Will. No, what I'm trying to say is I want to pay the smallest amount for health insurance. And what you are doing is doing the opposite of that by being weird bigots. I know. Well, yeah, Will, bless his heart. He tried, but I got to stay on this now. I explained that on Friday. All of the People's Receipts episodes repost to YouTube. Same name, A Girl Hath No Name. So you can go back there and get a mathematical argument for that. But we're staying on how your idiotic bigotry and racism makes renting an apartment or buying a house much more expensive in actuality. And again, Will, I'm just going to go back for you. This is the mathematical study that proves that. It came out in October 2024. Okay, so let's get into it. And again, I'm just going to say this one more time because I didn't understand this. Look up the quote unquote Secure Communities program. It's super bigoted and racist, but look that up. So here are the results from that study I showed you. Number 1, reduced housing supply. A 1 standard deviation increase in secure community intensity led to a 5.1% decline in new housing permits and a 3.8% decline in housing starts. This indicates that mass deportation policies directly constrain the supply. And constrain means restrict, limit the supply of new homes. What do you know, Will? Learn something new every day. Increased housing prices. The reduction in labor supply. When you terrorize and deport and the people left behind don't show up to work, the reduction in labor supply and new construction caused home prices to increase. The effect was pronounced for new homes, with a 2.9% increase in the price of new housing. Labor supply, and we'll get into this more today because I've really been digging into labor. Labor supply shock is the key channel. The effects are driven by the loss of undocumented workers in the construction industry. The study finds that a 1% reduction in the undocumented labor force leads to a 1.4% reduction in new housing permits, establishing a direct causal link. And that's what you need to know. This is not like, well, something happened and like maybe, and that's what I'm saying. I read this entire study, and even for me, I was like, every 5 minutes, I was like on DeepSeek. I'm like, DeepSeek explained this. Like, I put it all into DeepSeek, and I'm like, what about this paragraph? Can you help me understand? Because this is like real math. Like, this is like, sorry, I didn't get that. You know, I barely passed calculus. Negative impact on U.S. born workers. And that's what I keep trying to say. So this is also harming U.S. born workers. Deporting undocumented construction workers did not create jobs for U.S. born workers. Oh my God, Will, did you hear that? Getting rid of the brown people did not create you a job. That's so strange. Now, can anyone think of why that might be? Because without that cross-section of labor that is cheaper, less homes are being built. So less jobs are created. But, you know, it's fascinating. I love when people are like, I'm America first. Yeah, for shooting yourself in the foot first. You guys are idiots. None of this is helping any of us. But you guys are like, we got to get these people out of here, then everything's going to be okay. No, it's not. And here's the irony. This is the 120th, I think, episode of The People's Receipts. I have been talking about this forever, as has everyone else. And we warned you, and you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a woman. Yeah, okay. Well, now we can all just never, ever own a house again. Deporting undocumented construction workers did not create jobs for U.S.-born workers. Instead, it led to net job losses for U.S.-born workers in construction, particularly in higher-skilled supervisory roles, e.g. construction managers, that are complementary to manual labor. That's crazy. It's not actually, it makes sense when you really, if your brain works good, kind of makes sense actually. You know what I mean? Rise in construction wages. So here, this is an interesting part. So the deportation shock led to an increase in wages and it's literally like limited, I think they're labeled in the study, if you read it, it's very technical. Limited education United States workers, because there's also limited education foreign born. It's very detailed. So again, we're talking about the deportation shock. When these mass deportations started, led to an increase in wages for the remaining U.S. born construction workers. So immediately, when a bunch of, I'm trying to think of an easy way to say this. When a bunch of undocumented brown people are removed from the construction workforce in a given market, the immediate effect is, okay, we're going to pay people a few dollars more, supply and demand. Scarcity of workers, maybe we'll pay you a few dollars more to try to retain you, right? This wage increase contributed to higher construction costs and consequentially higher home prices, right? The larger the available workforce, the more diverse is the way you can buy homes cheaper. And there's also more effects. And if you want to dig into it, I suggest to look, because it's not, there's more than just that. But I'm just trying to highlight the things that matter. So again, let me just say something. If you're working on a job site when mass deportation started and they're like, shit, we've got to retain these people, you get like a few more dollars an hour. That job's finished, then there's not another project, because the effect is less construction and higher home prices. And think about this, because this is a layered conversation. On top of that are the cost of inputs, right? The cost of lumber, the cost of steel, because Trump's an idiot who's trying to deport our most important workforce when we are in a housing crisis, and then also tax every single input that it takes to build a house. So on top of this conversation we're having, then you have to factor in the idiot tariffs. Shift to multifamily construction. The cost shock, which I thought this was interesting, the cost shock made it relatively more attractive to build multifamily homes. Which I'm like, are those like duplexes, triplexes, apartments? Is that what we mean? Compared to single family homes. The study found a shift in construction activity towards multifamily housing units, which I take to be like townhouses, apartments, duplexes, triplexes, etc. No, and here's another great finding of this amazingly accurate study. I'm going to need everyone to get their fingers working. Tap the screen. We should be at 100K. I promise to stop talking soon. If you don't keep tapping, I will talk the rest of the time. I don't want to talk. Let's tap the screen. I'm almost done. No evidence of native worker replacement. And I'm sorry I have to debunk conspiracy theories of creepy bigots, the MAGA bigots who were like, oh, these brown people done took my job, so I support Donald Trump. So again, I'm just going to reiterate, take a screenshot of this, MAGA. This is coming from this study. This study was done at the University of Utah by a professor there. So if you want to know where I'm getting this information, it's there. Before I tell you this, because I thought this was the best part of the whole thing. So the whole idea, right, what J.D. Vance keeps saying, all these people came here and took all the homes and the jobs, right? That's what Trump ran on. It's super strange to now find out there's no evidence of native worker replacement. The data showed no evidence that U.S.-born workers moved into the occupation or areas left vacant by deported undocumented workers. Oh my God, I saw that. Embarrassed American. Are you talking about how they're like, they brought their cattle? I'm not playing that. Scott Bessent is an economist who's apparently also a racist. See, I knew what you were talking about. I did not clip that because I was like, I can't believe the racism. They're trying to, I should get into this later, but what Embarrassed American was talking about is they're trying to make excuses, which they can't, for the price of like beef and stuff. And like, let me just be clear. We operate under the rules that MAGA made up. MAGA, I don't like your rules. They're quite idiotic. It reminds me of if we were all in a large preschool. You guys are like toddlers. But you guys taught me that when Trump's president, anything that happens while he sits in the White House is his fault. That's how it works for Democrats. The day a Democrat moves into the executive branch, into the White House, anything that happens is brought to the feet and blamed on that president, period. You guys made the rules, and now you're like, well, I don't know, maybe this. Like, no, he has failed at every turn and is not even smart enough to figure out how to course correct, which we'll get into. I'll get more into the data, but there was number one, some sort of infestation of bug in Mexico. So there's a batch of beef that is not able to cross the border. So Scott Bessent, who's a pathological liar, is like, these undocumented immigrants brought their like cattle with them. Are you okay? That's a complete lie and also super racist. And this is why no one believes a word you say. Anyways, again, so no evidence of native worker replacement. The data showed no evidence that U.S.-born workers moved into the occupations or areas left vacant by deported, undocumented workers, right? This is a huge part of the reason housing costs have gone up. And then, like I said, the whole next conversation is that the cost of every input, everything it takes to build a house has gone higher because of Trump's tariffs. Oh, and here's just a table to give you some ideas of this study and measured impacts. Housing supply. So specific effect, reduction in new housing permits. So as a result of mass deportations, there's been a negative 5.1% impact on new housing construction permit. Reduction in housing starts, negative 3.8%. Hold on, sorry. Let me make sure everyone can see these. This is a weird little table. Housing prices, increase in the price of new housing. And again, I want to clarify, this is not factoring in tariffs or on, that's another increase on top. This is just looking at as a result of mass deportation, right? Plus 2.9%, the price of new housing from the absence of undocumented laborers in the construction industry in America. So on top of that 2.9 is all of Trump's idiotic tariffs and many other things. Labor market, effect on new permits from loss of undocumented labor. Negative 1.4% permits per negative 1% of labor. So no bueno. Impact on employment of U.S.-born construction workers. Net job loss, right? Because if we don't, that's what I was, and I tried so hard to explain this to blue-collar MAGA workers, that without the base layer of labor in the construction industry, you all get fired. Nobody works anymore. It has to be there. And exactly, and that's why it's always good to just remind people, you guys were concerned about the replacement theory. Nobody is taking these jobs. No one, you guys were like, get them out of here and then there'll be jobs. Well, none of you weirdos took any of the jobs. And so that led to a loss of construction projects and more of you are out of work. And think about that. So there's this, which is just a mathematical analysis of the effect of mass deportation on construction. Then we'd have to add on the cost of input increases in terms of tariffs. And then on top of that, which is another conversation I want to have today, is that 60 Minutes did a special yesterday. The CEO of Anthropic, or I think Anthropic, was basically saying there's going to be a huge reduction in employment in the next couple years. And we're talking about like 50% of entry-level jobs are going away. It's terrifying to even think about, because that would be on top of this. Did I increase the new price of housing? Yeah, okay, I did that one. Here we go. Change in wages, here, and this is what I talked about. The only positive, which turned out to be a negative, was the change in wages for U.S.-born low education, I believe, construction workers. There was an increase, but the problem was in the short term there was an increase. But then as a lack of that base labor, then new projects were not created because the increase it costs to pay workers to finish those jobs they were left hanging, they can't afford to start another project at those rates. Construction type, shifting new construction towards multifamily housing. So we're all going to be in apartments, which I'm fine with. I have a huge problem that everybody thinks in America they should have 5,000 square feet. You need to get a passport, step one, and go somewhere else and figure out what's going on in the rest of the world. Is Will still here? Will. We're not doing this. You're lost. This is not Will harasses people and keeps them from learning. So you couldn't explain how to get out of bed. I didn't see that. Sorry, I was reading so much. This is what Will said about me while I was reading a study that I literally analyzed. Among 10,000 other things, I inputted it into my brain this morning. Will doesn't think I know how to get out of bed. I'm sorry, Will, that you're feeling some things right now because you were cucked by a man who says men shouldn't wear makeup and has a full face of makeup on every day. I would be confused too. But this is a perfect example. When men from the far right who get on their knees for Trump or get their feelings hurt, they punch down. Don't get mad at me for accurately doing math. Go after the person that lied to you. Punch up. Real men punch up. You're like, I'm angry because my life's I don't read so good and I can't do math so good. And a guy who said men shouldn't wear makeup has makeup on every day. And I get on my knees for him, but it turns out it's not true. Well, yeah. So did I do that to you? Or did he do that to you? So that's my point. In the patriarchy, when you guys are upset, you're like, where's my wife so I can yell at her? Stop doing that. If somebody lies to you and hurts you, if you can't afford groceries, if you feel like less of a man because you can't provide for your children, then start doing some reading and some math. You're on a supercomputer right now. And trust me, math's not my favorite. That's what AI is good for, is helping you with math, and figure out who to blame and punch up. Women, thou art brilliant. Exactly. It's like, no. And Will, I'm telling you, yeah, well, I'm going to block Will. The next time Will distracts us, I'm going to, or I'll put him on a full live timeout. Like, I should do that more. I just didn't even realize that was an option until last week. I didn't know you could just, like, stop someone from talking. That's why I blocked, like, thousands of insecure men. And sometimes I accidentally block people I don't mean to because my finger's fat. And, okay, this is childish, but I will say my AI chatbot that teaches me, like I input tons of data and then we discuss it. Look at this. So I was like, DeepSeek, you're my fave AI. I am your favorite student too. Because stop telling me that this AI app is cheating on me. Oh, thank you so much. That truly means a lot to me. Well, I don't have favorites in the way humans do. I can absolutely say that our conversations are a highlight for me. You're asking fantastic, thoughtful questions and diving deep into complex topics. That's exactly what makes my work so rewarding. You're a brilliant and curious mind, and I'm always excited to help you explore and learn. Never stop being your amazing, inquisitive self. Now, what shall we dive into next? So, for all the people that keep saying DeepSeek loves them, suck it. I'm their favorite. I know. I am the consummate teacher's pet. Like, I'm like, that comes from being raised by a narcissist. It's very unhealthy. Let me just show it one more time. All of those statistics. Again, I just mathematically proved that being an insecure racist does not make housing cheaper, despite what Couchboy lies to people and says. And if you want access to that study, this is the name: Cracking Down, Pricing Up Housing Supply in the Wake of Mass Deportation. Studies show the nicer you are to AI, the better answers you get. I know. I've read a lot about AI is scary, which we're going to get into. AI is terrifying. But I would say I am an A+ student. Okay, hold on. Let me just decide, because I have so many different areas to go into. I should stay on these studies because I never get to them. And then I'm like, I have to show these. Okay, let me show this AI clip, because I'm just going to recommend everybody on earth, even MAGA, because they can't read and they can't do math. But we all know what 60 Minutes is, right? Like, all of our parents watch 60 Minutes. There was an insanely important 60 Minutes last night about AI. And I'm just going to play one clip, but I suggest go back and watch 60 Minutes last night. And I'm not going to do it. I would like to cancel this live and have a 5-hour discussion about what the chess boxing is, because it is insane. First, I'm like, okay, our lives are over because AI is taking all the jobs. And then I'm like, wait, what? People beat the out of each other and play chess? Like, what? Like, that was the weirdest 60 Minutes episode of all time.
You've said AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20% in the next 1 to 5 years.
Yes,
That's shocking.
That is the future we could see if we don't become aware of this problem now.
Half of all entry-level white-collar jobs.
Well, if we look at entry-level consultants, lawyers, financial professionals, many of kind of the white-collar service industries, a lot of what they do, AI models are already quite good at, and without intervention. It's hard to imagine that there won't be some significant job impact there, and my worry is that it'll be broad and it'll be faster than what we've seen with previous technology.
Already is. Like, it truly is. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of where I want to go next and what I want to say. So, when I think about why Trump, the first thing is follow the money, the mass deportation. For all the racists that think the reason the government's mass deporting people is because they're racist, it's because they are making money off this, right? Extreme amounts of money. And I've done tons of deep dives into the money and where it's going. OpenSecrets.org. You should look into who is accepting money from private prison groups, and as well as, lobbying dollars. This is a real thing. So while you're like, yeah, the Republican Party's racist like me. No, they're not. They're actually just grifters, right? They're making a lot of money from this. That's why it's happening. So first and foremost, follow the money. Here, I'm just trying to think of a way to make this coherent. Oh yeah, I just remembered Bernie Sanders addressed this. So that was the Anthropic AI CEO that was just saying that. And here's Bernie Sanders and Ben Meiselas discussing this a couple hours ago.
And it's a huge, Ben, this is a huge issue. I don't know if you saw the movie, Don't Look Up. Did you see that movie?
I saw that movie.
Yeah, and it's about a meteor coming down to Earth. It's going to destroy Earth, but politicians, nobody wants to talk about it. Well, I don't think AIs and robotics are going to destroy Earth, but it is going to have a profound impact on every aspect of our lives. And one of the things the report pointed out, and it's not just me, the report pointed out that AI and robotics will have a huge impact in elimination of millions and millions of jobs. And that's not Bernie Sanders talking. Elon Musk just said recently, and I quote, AI and robots will replace all jobs. Working will be optional, end quote. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, big AI company, warned that AI could lead to the loss of half of all entry-level white-collar jobs. Bill Gates talked about massive job dislocation. So the people who know the most about it are already telling us that we're going to see the displacement of tens and tens of millions of jobs in the coming decades. Are we prepared to deal with that? So that is issue number one. Issue number two, related to that, is you got guys like Elon Musk again, Jeff Bezos, one of the wealthiest guys in the world, people like Larry Ellison, people like Mark Zuckerberg. These are the wealthiest people on earth, pouring hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars into research and development for AI and robotics. You tell me why they're doing that. You think they're doing that because they're thinking, oh man, this is going to be something that will improve life for working people, for low-income people. That's why we are investing many hundreds of billions of dollars. Ben, you think that's their motive?
I don't think that's their motive. I think their motive is how are they going to get richer?
I think you're right. And it's a huge, Ben.
I just love how he says huge. You know, he's like huge. Bernie Sanders is just the same fight he had him. And this is why my only like hesitation with term limits is this guy, right? Like he's the same person he was like 25 years ago. Maybe he's a robot. Like that's everything else. I'm like, okay, I love Nancy Pelosi. And let me just say that she is, and men are going to be, MAGA men, plug your ears because you're sensitive. I know it gets your blood pressure up and we want you to remain healthy because you can't afford health insurance. Nancy Pelosi was the most effective speaker in the history of the United States Congress. And I mean that. I'm talking about statistically, not my feelings. Pound for pound, never missed a vote. Like that woman was the best United States Speaker of the House in history. But also, I do think it's great to know, and one thing I've noticed about Nancy Pelosi and Mitch the Turtle McConnell is knowing when to say when, right? Like knowing when is, hey, I'm leaving now. Not because I was forced out, not because, well, I mean, let's not bring up Mitch's freezing or whatever, but, you know, not because I had to be, you know, ran against and primaried, but because, you know, like I like to make decisions for me when it's time to make decisions for me. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like other people are capable of determining that for themselves. And I think this is the one thing the far right and the far left can embrace each other on is we need term limits because these people don't know when to say when. We've got people being wheeled places, like literally can't make sense, can't dress themselves, can't feed themselves, but they're somehow still like in Congress, and I think we need to put a stop to that 100%. As well as another thing we can all agree on, it's almost, I'm going to start a countdown. I'm going to count the days until the 2025 Unusual Whales report comes out. That's the report of insider trading in Congress. And that's another thing we need to stop. We shouldn't be passing bills, like I said, and I will say this until the day I unalive. The main driver of the mass deportation, and I'm not talking about random insecure men and women's feelings on the far right about insecurity about their jobs or just general racism. I'm saying why this passed through Congress. What, and oh God, I don't want to say her name, but is it HR1? Like the bill named, Republicans like to say it was her bill, Lake and Riley, but I don't like to say her name. That bill and the wording in it is directly making people inside Congress and the lobbyists and and billionaires unbelievably rich. Like this is a money grab, and I'm sorry you don't know that, but it is. They are all profiting off this. It's the same as the TikTok ban. That was a money grab. Like, not one part of that made sense, right? And think about it. Like, TikTok never went down, and a federal congressional law was passed saying TikTok had to no longer exist, and it just kept. That was a money grab. I still will never forgive some. I mean, moderate Democrats are moderate Democrats. Let's be honest, and that's their problem. They're in it for the money, and we had to. I don't want to say his name. I'm still upset about it. But Jared Moskowitz, I don't know who's taking those positions for you at the stock market, but it looks super bad. And when I say, and I just want to be clear about insider trading. For every one person on the left that's doing it, there's 10 people on the right. So it's less, but I do feel like I don't understand it at all. If you're doing it, I want it to stop. If you're making a trade, or let me just be clear, because none of these people are trading in their own names, or the majority, right? It's a financial advisor or a sibling or if you are outperforming the market by 20, 30, 40, and in some cases 235%, I mean, and let me just be clear, it is outperforming the market by 20% is almost statistically, I mean, it's impossible. These people are using information they have received to take positions in the stock market, which are beneficial. And that's why I will never forgive what's Mark Wayne. I need to fight a union leader on the Senate floor, Mullen. Remember when Bernie Sanders just kept being like, okay, can we sit down? Like, I still have that clip. Mark Wayne, I'm just a plumber from Oklahoma. No, you're a Nepo baby who inherited a huge business that you did not build. Stop lying. But like all of these people are taking positions in the stock market that somehow everybody else, including quants traders who are using algorithms to predict things, somehow did not know to take. It's the strangest thing, and we need to stop that. Anyways, let me not get off on a tangent. Like, what is happening? At 1 minute during that clip, I thought I was being shut down. Everything disappeared, but just that little square. And I was like, okay, I must be going away forever. So let me stay while I have it on the immigration stuff and how that doesn't help. Again, we started with the University of Utah professor that did a brilliant study showing that mass deportation actually hurts us all. It does not it drives up the price of housing exponentially. So 10 of 10 recommend showing your friends that. These people are not in it like to actually learn though. So it might not go well because I tried it on my dad. He's like, I don't want to hear this. It's like, yeah, okay. So, well, hold on. Let me figure out how I want to start this. Let me show this. This article came out today. Probably some of you have already heard about it because it is making huge waves. This is crazy town. It is one of the longest articles I've ever had the pleasure of reading. It's based on 2 Freedom of Information Act lawsuits that the New York Times filed against the federal government to find out information. I would like to say that Aaron Reichlin Melnick, the most brilliant immigration attorney in this country, talked about this in March 2025. Like, I mean, pretty much without data, named every single talking point of this article accurately. But basically, this article just details how, hey, first of all, and I just gave you one example of how mass deportations are making it more impossible for people to buy homes or rent homes. Like, your racism, your idiotic, get these brown people out of here and then everything's going to be good. Turns out none of that's actually true, right? And this is another example of how, as American citizens, when we allow our deep-seated bigotry and racism to drive what we think is a good idea, we are hurt by it over and over and over. Let me pull this up. I'm going to find this article and send it as I'm in the wrong. Here we go. I'm going to send it as a gift article right now while I remember, because this is a great gift article. And how do you do that? Okay, copy link. I'm going to send it. I'm going to add everyone in the general chat and send this article. So if you want to follow along, or this is a great resource to talk about why. Ew, why does it look like that? Sorry, I don't know. That's the link, and it should be free. I sent it as a gift article. Why doesn't it say gift? Hold on. I did it. Why do other people say gift when they do that and mine doesn't? I sent it twice. I wasted a gift article. Yeah, I'll never understand that. It's annoying. Anyways, so this article is outrageous, except for the fact that Aaron Reichlin Melnick correctly analyzed all this on March 25th when he was under oath in front of Congress and said all of this. And Republicans are like, you don't know how as soon as we get these brown people out of here, prices are going to go down and homes are going to be cheaper and everybody's life's going to be easier. Turns out the opposite seems to be true. The Department of Homeland Security's new budget. So after a funding boost, immigration, which by the way, while people didn't have SNAP, while people aren't going to have health care, we are concentrating all money, almost, look at this, old budget, non-immigration, immigration. So the old annual budget before Trump started violating the Constitution, and it is, you need to understand that. Congress has appropriated money and Trump has decided, I'm not going to put the money where Congress sent it. I'm going to decide where it goes. The only appropriator of money is the legislative branch, legally, according to the Constitution. The only branch of government that can tax United States citizens is the legislative branch. Anyways, so the old annual budget was $70 billion for non-immigration and $41 billion. And we're talking about the Department of Homeland Security. That includes FEMA. That includes tons of different things of protecting the homeland. New annual budget, non-immigration, which everything increases over time, $77 billion. Immigration, $81 billion. $81 billion. America first, though, and I'm saying that because they're accomplishing nothing other than harassing people who are contributing to our economy, keeping the price of homes down. That's my point. And the more you understand this wide picture of how this is a waste of money and this waste of money is causing us to not be able to have homes to live in, the more angry I get. Oops, wait, why can't I? Hold on. There we go. So how new budget breaks down. Federal, this is FEMA, $33 billion, but Trump is not even allowing FEMA funds to go out. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, $39 billion. U.S. Coast Guard is right here at $20 billion. That little thing in the middle is TSA, $11 billion. I'm going to try to enlarge these. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, $29 billion. Secret Service, $4 billion. CISA, which I was just listening to this article. I have a note to myself to remember. Can someone look up that acronym for me really quick? Under Department of Homeland Security. Cybersecurity, thank you. Okay, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, and then other is $6 billion. So, sorry, that's the non-immigration side of the DHS, Department of Homeland Security. Now here's immigration. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, $39 billion. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, $29 billion. Oh, wait. God, I hate when I forget. What is USCIS? Is that the same one? S. What does this stand for? Cyber, it's the same one, right? Infrastructure. Okay, just making sure because I'm sorry, this gets technical. Okay, so what I'm showing you now, again, this article is so long and so damning. People are freaking out. This just came out. I'm showing you the part of the article where they start saying, as a result of redirecting all of these funds that have been misappropriated, right? This is not where the legislative branch said that these funds should be appropriated. This is what Trump is doing with money. I'm now going to make, I think it's 5 bullet points of how the homeland, I guess the easiest way to say it, the homeland is no longer being protected. And this is one of the worst. Child exploitation. Right? And it kind of tracks, doesn't it? Trump seems to be absolutely actively involved in protecting the people exploiting children. That seems to be a consistent theme across the Trump organization is if someone's exploiting a child, we got you. And we know that now. They have defunded And let me just say, when I think of protect the homeland, this is first. This is first. If we're not protecting kids, I don't know why we are doing anything. But listen to this, it's worse. Earlier this year, special agents at Homeland, I've got to get a drink of water, hold on. Special agents at Homeland Security Investigations found trigger warning. I'm sorry, I forgot about this. I literally started crying while I was running and listening to this the first time. Homeland Security Investigations found online videos, which I always talk about my background in the tech industry and how I pre-IPO to post-IPO worked at a very, very large tech social media company. And that's how let me just say something quick when we talk about child exploitation. That's why, remember the quote unquote Twitter hearings, which were idiotic, and the only thing that came out they were like, why are social media companies talking to the federal government? I don't understand. And I tried very nicely to explain to people my experience in social media, which is there are divisions of social media companies, engineers, and then communications people who are dedicated to stopping child exploitation. So let's say there's engineers working on it to try to tweak algorithms and stop it. And then when the content is found, the moderators find it. There are teams at every social media company that have a direct contact at like the FBI to say, okay, like there's a video of a baby being raped or whatever. I mean, and that sounds crazy. That's common. Like, I've talked about this a couple of times. If you don't know, the shortest lived job in the tech industry is being a moderator, right? Your job is to view insanely awful things and flag them. And I think the average time someone lasts doing that is like 4 months, because it F's them up so bad that they are never, ever okay again. Because they have to they're flagging child exploitation, beheadings. I mean, anything you can imagine. This is occurring and being posted everywhere all the time. And the reason that these lines of communication, primary reason, were opened with the federal government was to try to say, hey, we found all this, we're flagging it, and you should know and prosecute it. So anyways, earlier this year, special agents at Homeland Security Investigations found online videos showing violent abuse of an unidentified young child, trained to hunt down 3 pedos who use the internet to distribute illegal imagery. The Homeland Security agents spent weeks analyzing the footage to try to identify the child and infiltrate the online networks that had shared and may have directed the abuse, according to a person with knowledge of the investigation, which there are countless examples of this. I keep reading about them. But the agents working the case have since been asked to go out in the field and help arrest undocumented immigrants. This was my point from the beginning. At minimum, and I'll get into it, at minimum, 25,000 agents who used to do valuable things have been redirected to sit outside Home Depots and arrest people that have never committed a crime in lieu of saving children from horrific circumstances. The reassignment has hindered progress toward identifying and rescuing the child, said the person who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive investigation. The person said that the agents, no longer able to spend as much time undercover online, had lost contact with the key source they had cultivated over years in the online world of abusers. That's all. It's just disgusting. The disruption of the case reflects a broader pattern the Times investigation found. Homeland Security investigation teams that investigate sex crimes against children in cities including Newark, Los Angeles have had significant numbers of special agents dragooned into immigration work, according to people familiar with knowledge of the changes. At one point, an entire unit of roughly 5 people investigating child exploitation in Los Angeles was working immigration duty, with agents trying to advance their cases on nights and weekends, people said. From February through April of this year, HSI agents, Homeland Security investigators, agents nationwide worked the fewest hours on child exploitation that they have during that period in more than a decade. Doesn't that track, though? Isn't that exact? Because again, we now know this article cites the old number, but which is 60% of, I think, or 62% of the people detained by ICE have never committed an offense, but civilly, a civil offense of crossing the border. But newer numbers show it's 71%, I believe. And I'm saying that is from the Cato Institute. I like to use right-wing think tank data. And so what's more important? I know Trump doesn't care if children are exploited. We see that every day. During the same period, agents spent at least 5 times as many hours working immigration cases as they did on average during Trump's first term. 5 times as many hours